If I had to start my social media management business from scratch and my goal was to achieve 5K months, this is how I would do it. Hello and welcome to this Theodia channel. My name is Rosie. I am your host. And today we are going to be talking about how to make 5K months as a social media manager with no fluff, no BS, and none of that woo-woo crazy energy where you're thinking just post and you become viral like a lot of the gurus say online. I work in influencer marketing. I've done UGC and I've been a content creator for over 10 years. So I know what brands are looking for and what they're spending money on. Let's break this down step by step. The first thing you need to know is your numbers. First of all, we need to be realistic. We need to know how much we're charging for our packages. We're also not going to be undervaluing ourselves. 5K a month does not mean we are going to find 10 clients and charge them $500 each for a social media management package. That's called burnout. How do I know? I've been there, I've done that, and I'm never looking back. I was managing so many clients and getting paid peanuts. It's tiring. It's highly achievable to reach for 5K months, but that's one thing where you're doing that and overworking yourself. And then there's another where you're respecting your boundaries, your skills, and your time, and you're getting paid fairly for that. I like to look at the numbers this way, where you could potentially work on a monthly basis with 3 to 4 clients at around 1.3 to about 2K a month. That can work out to be more than 5K a month, but these are just some examples. When you're first starting off, your goal is not to find more clients. It's about working with clients that respect you for your time, your skill, your energy, and everything that you're doing to help them grow their business. And I'm an Aussie. I can say now for a basic social media management package, around the 1.5K mark is pretty standard here. And especially as a beginner, let's say you're more senior, that would look much more different. Let's say you're starting fresh, and depending on what the deliverables are, I would say it's quite acceptable and fair. This next tip that I want to talk to you about is something that I really wish I did when I first started. Make sure you pick a niche, but that niche has to be something that is profitable. What do I mean by that? If I were to start again, I wouldn't do what I did, which was I'm a social media manager for everyone. If you own a business, I can help you grow. That, chuck it out of the window. It's redundant. I would pick niches that, of course, I enjoy to talk about and work with, and the industry is something that interests me, but also an industry that is profitable, especially for that business as well. I'll give you an example. Say coaches, clinics, and service-based businesses. I don't want to say anything that is mean or insulting, but I think going back, I wouldn't look at companies like restaurants because their profit margins are much lower. At the end of the day, they won't really be able to afford your services. Let's say you're working with a beautician and they offer specialized services and they're doing skincare. Some of their treatments can go up to $800 a package, meaning that they do have a bit more room in their budget to work with a social media manager. And I'm not saying that all restaurants cannot afford your services at all, but let's say you're working with a cafe, it would be much harder for them to be able to afford you because that $4 cup of coffee is getting split between their staff, paying themselves, purchasing more inventory, and pretty much all of that compared to, let's say you're working with a life coach and they've got a package that goes for a few months and that package could be ranging from 1 to 10K. There is a lot more leg room for them to work with a marketer. This has nothing to do with those industries, but more to do with the longevity of your business. At the end of the day, you want to make 5K months, yes, but you're also wanting to make sure that you're not cycling through so many different clients because one day one realizes that you're not a priority anymore. It does happen, and don't get upset about that, but it's important to be realistic when you're setting yourself up in business as well. The next section that I want to talk about, which is really important, is nailing your offer. I've messed this up so many times and I wish I could go back and make it very clear that these are the things that I'm going to offer for this X amount of price. And I think in the beginning, I have been told that this is what you have to do, but maybe I had to go through this experience where I thought I can offer anything and everything and just slap a random price and that should be fine. Do not do that. You're going to end up burning yourself out, which I did, and I had to take a break from my business, and I'm so grateful that my sister stepped up and helped me out. But honestly, it's not worth burning yourself out just because you want to help and work with anyone and everyone. And even if they can't afford you, don't lower your prices. classes like I did. And it's also kind of a mindset thing for me that I'm still learning now, even though I do consider myself as an expert. I think at the end of the day, we're all human. But as your big sister in biz, let me tell you now, most beginners in social media management, this is what they're selling when they're offering their services to clients. I post X amount of times a week. And yes, that is a lot of value because you're saving so much time off their hands. But at the end of the day, a business is not working with you because you're on your phone editing videos and you're posting on their account. It's a small part of the whole marketing department, but they've hired you to help assist in one of their bigger business goals, whether that's to increase awareness, to obviously make more sales, or find new leads. Your job is to assist in that goal. Just telling someone, hey, I'm going to be posting 3 times a week, and then I'm also going to be creating 2 graphics for you as well. Important, yes, but that's not the bottom line. What is your offer and why are people working with you? When you're pitching yourself, this is what your offer should look like. I help X niche. Let's say that niche is dermal clinicians. That's what they're called in Australia. In the US, I think they're called estheticians. Let's say I help estheticians turn content into leads, or I help estheticians turn content into sales. And then yes, posting 3 times a week, whatever is in your package is important as well, but your offer is I help you, or I help your niche achieve this business goal. Then when you talk about your packages, that's how you are going to help them achieve their goals. Let's say I help estheticians turn content into sales. How are you going to do that? You provide them your 3-tier packages. What you're also going to include in your offer would include things like content ideas and strategy. I cannot stress that enough. Your strategy is so important. And pretty much overall direction of how you're going to manage this business's socials. At the end of the day, you're not a content robot. You're a human, but despite being a human, you are not hired just because you're pretty and playing on the phone. You are solving real business problems. The next thing you are going to do if you're wanting to hit 5K months as a social media manager is set up your portfolio. Please, 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 please do not wait until you find a client to do this. It's going to be so much harder finding clients if you don't have a portfolio in the first place. Don't wait. This is something so important that you need to do from the get-go. People tend to delay themselves even for months starting this. I don't even know why, but usually let's say I'm starting a business. I'm so excited. Let's get everything done ASAP. I feel like that's usually me. The thing that I held off was my systems. Maybe that's my neurodivergent brain. If I were to start again, I'm a beginner, I'm a newbie. My portfolio is going to be one of the first things I'll work on because if I'm pitching to clients, how do I prove to them I can do the things I say I can? What kind of things can I do in this mock-up portfolio? You can create fake strategies for businesses. If they see that this is what you could potentially do for them, they'll probably consider, hey, this person would be great to work with. And honestly, go through as many strategies as you can. Make as many as humanly possible. Let's say you have 10, even better, because the first one you make is probably going to be terrible. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. The first ones I've made, they were not the best. Once you keep doing it, you realize the first strategy you made was pretty terrible. Other things that you can also include in your portfolio, so you can create all of this on Canva. I would also suggest making a separate portfolio where you have a lot of your video content and analytics. Say you already have a page, whether it's business or personal, use your stats because they can form as part of your case study. And that's proof that you can make content that resonates with other people. Depending on how you want to lay out your portfolio, whether it's Canva or just your social media page, you need to show proof. If you're offering video editing as a service, have great examples of videos that you've edited in that niche. Show before and afters as well. Let's say you've worked with a client or you're on a mock-up page. Show the analytics and the growth that you help achieve that client within the last 30 days. This also helps build trust. You can also add feed transformations in your portfolio, which I feel like personally, I don't care about feeds and a lot of people don't care about feeds. Some people do. I know that one's a little controversial, but to me, aesthetics don't really sell anymore unless say you're doing nails or something. That's completely different. Let's say having your feed look extremely perfect and amazing, I feel like is really outdated now, especially in 2026. People care so much more about authenticity than how the grid looks. But if you have a keen eye and you want to showcase that you can help a client go from a certain old feed to a beautiful new one, definitely put that in your portfolio as well. I've interviewed a lot of VAs in the past and I've asked for a portfolio and they haven't really shown me anything, and it makes me think, do I really want to work with this person? I'm willing to work with a newbie just as long as I know what they're capable of producing. If that was me after interviewing, I think for my own personal business, it would be over 50 different VAs. Then imagine all of the potential clients that you're going to be reaching out to. They're going to be wanting to see the same thing. What can they do for my business is what they're going to be thinking. Don't stress too much about having a fake portfolio. They don't care if it's real. What they care about is if the quality of the work is good. The next thing I want to talk about is getting clients. And if I started this one all over again, it would look much more different because I would have started with outreach. When I first started my agency, I think I just went straight onto the freelancer platforms. I personally was so shy and I just thought, why am I going to DM them? They're not going to respond to me. Outreach seems so icky. You need to get rid of those thoughts. Those limiting beliefs is what's holding you back. But obviously, reaching out through emails or DMs, you need to provide value in those as well. If you're structuring an outreach, you need to provide free value, not just DMing the business saying, oh, I love your page and just leaving it like that. That's highly unprofessional and that won't convert either. In terms of outreach, I would start that from the beginning. And then what I would do is whether I'm sending a DM or an email, I would make sure to provide value in my message. Obviously, do your background research on the brand. You're not going to be copying, pasting the same DM template because I'm pretty sure you can get blocked for spam for that. I know on emails you can, but on Instagram, I think it could go to like some filtered page. So you want to tailor each of your messages for each of the brand. You want to do your research. This is why you like them. When you're pitching your services, do not say anything negative. Don't criticize the brand. Honestly, I've had so many times people would pitch their services to me because they're a video editor, they're a social media manager. They're telling me, hey, your socials suck and this is how I can make it better. I don't think that's a great approach to reach out to a brand. Some people would be fine with it, but I feel like you've just insulted my brand and now you want to work with me. I don't think that's professional. Another way to reword it is, this is what I can see is working really well on your business. List those things and then say, this is what I do, my background, introduce yourself and say how you can provide value for them as well. Because at the end of the day, they're hiring you because you're helping change their business. My mentor, this is her strategy for outbound. She does a free audit and offers that to potential clients. Depending on which route you want to go, just make sure you offer value. It doesn't matter how you approach it. Be positive, be polite, be respectful, professional, but always offer value. You don't need to send 100 messages or 100 emails out a day. And I know it might sound a lot, but you might need to send at least 10 very good, very strong pitches a day. Volume does kind of matter because they're not all going to convert. By sending out as many as you can, you're pretty much setting yourself up for success. The next thing I want to talk about is pricing in the sense of going up in your prices. Not similarly to what I said at the start. That was more cash flow projections in the sense where once you reach a certain milestone in your business and you've gained a lot of experience, think about raising your rates. I've been so scared of doing this for the longest time. I feel like it's imposter syndrome. There was a quote that I read recently. You wouldn't be in the room if you weren't qualified. And I just thought that was insane. I never even thought about that. So you're in the room and you're qualified. That's where raising prices comes in. You've been doing this for a while now. And yes, maybe your beginner rates are lower. So you'll have to pick up more clients to achieve the goals that you have. At the end of the day, when you're scaling your business, the goal isn't a lot of clients and charging peanuts for what you're worth. Eventually, as you develop skills, meet new clients, and grow your expertise, you get into the stage where to make this business sustainable, you're going to need to raise your rates based on what you are able to offer, your experience and your skills. Let's say your beginner rates, you started off with a package at $800 and you stick with that for maybe half a year. And then after 1 year, you realize, wow, I'm really good at this area. I do this really well. We can bump that up to 1.2 thousand now. You get the gist. So you just start increasing based on your experience. For me and for aspiring social media managers, the goal should be for social media managers eventually is to work with less clients, but to have better pay. I also want to talk about why a lot of social media managers don't hit this milestone. A lot of them stay in learning mode for too long. They're just testing too many things and trying too many things out, changing, stopping, and they're not really actually sitting there going, okay, this is what works, this doesn't work, double down on this, and let's refine this. They keep trying out new things and pretty much get stuck in that loop. A lot of them, including myself, avoid outreach. I was stuck on probably 1 to 2K months for ages because I was too scared to pitch myself to others. And this one I am very guilty of as well, undercharging. I remember my first client paying me about, I think it was 60 USD a week for scheduling, editing, writing captions, finding royalty-free music for 5 videos a week is quite exhausting, and I did not charge for revisions as well. There was a lot of back and forth, and all I can say is know your worth. Another thing is that social media managers get too caught up in aesthetics. Yes, I get it. You want everything to look cute and pretty, but that doesn't pay the bills. And a lot of people struggle in this industry because they are not consistent, but they're just expecting results straight away as well. Let's say they're posting once or twice every few weeks and they're thinking, why am I not growing? You didn't give the platform or the business the chance to grow. If I had to start again as a social media manager wanting to make 5K a month, simply put it as this: I would not overcomplicate this whole process. What I'd focus on, I'd have a niche, probably one offer, make it so much easier for me and my clients, and consistent outreach and knowing my numbers. I'd make sure to treat this like a business from day one. If I'm not treating it the same way as I treat my 9 to 5, clocking in every day even though I don't want to, then I can't just expect the results to come in. And if you're wanting more content like this on everything social media, marketing, and business tips, make sure you check out my page for more content. And good luck on your social media management journey. Bye.